Hi, everyone. Welcome to Art and Talk. Thank you so much for being with us today. I'm Leslie Sue, the host for Art and Talk. If you're new to us, Art and Talk is all about meeting artists and being inspired. We embrace all the arts, the traditional and the spiritual arts, to bring you diverse and quality interviews to watch and to be inspired by. Today, we're starting part one of a two-part series called Partners in Music. And we'll be exploring a couple, a husband and wife, who are devoted to their music. And we'll be looking at them individually and collectively as well. One with a alternative rock influence, and the other with a classical music influence. All right. So today, our guest is a singer, songwriter, and a self-taught multi-instrumentalist. So we'll be diving into his music and his musical journey. He'll be performing for us. We can see he's just about all set up there. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome our guest for today, Victor Murphy. Welcome.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Yes, it's great to have you here. Wow, you look like you're just like ready to go. I can't wait to hear some
Yep.
of your music. But would you like to share anything with us, just to kind of get the ball rolling? I know that you started to write or compose music at 11 years old. You want to kind of just start, like, how did that all happen? What that was like for you?
Yeah. Just sort of in a nutshell, I a few years back when I was like maybe I think 42 or 43, I was finally diagnosed as having ADD, and that has that has actually been um both a burden and a blessing because it's given me an ability to see things and do things in ways that other people don't. But when I was growing up at an early age, because even though I didn't know what it was, because I found it difficult to communicate and express emotions and stuff, music became very cathartic for me. And from a very early age, I would play piano and things like that just by ear and just kind of be in a room on my own playing, my version of different things. And then about the age of 11, I started to actually write songs with my best friend at the time. And then that sort of developed from there. So it's always been a way of communicating for me, really, more than anything.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we should just dive into a song.
Sure.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Sounds great.
Yep.
Thank you.
Well, this song is called "Just Give Up." I wrote it. I wrote it basically when my wife Chanel was going through a really hard time earlier this year, and it's been hard for us because we're on opposite sides of the Atlantic at the moment because of COVID and different things and travel restrictions and everything, and that having that physical separation is hard, but we keep going and stuff. But like anybody else, there are days when it feels overwhelming. So this was my way of being able to say to her, you don't have to be strong. Just tell me how you feel. So it's a song of empathy, really, more than anything else. So it's called "Just Give Up." Do you ever wanna just give up? Do you ever wanna lay down your bags and sit in the dark? Oh, every day doesn't have to be just the same. Every day doesn't have to be running from the black dog. Do you ever wanna just give up? Do you ever wanna lay down your bags and sit in the dark? Oh, do you ever wanna just give up? Do you ever wanna lay down your bags and sit in the dirt? Oh, do you ever wanna just give up? Do you ever wanna lay down those bags and sit in the dirt? Oh, please don't give up. Cheers.
Oh, that was beautiful. Thank you, Victor.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can see you really pour out your heart and soul in your music. And
Yeah.
it's a real raw, honest vibe, and in your music. And you set it up kind of as a devotion to your wife, and kind of exploring the feelings of not being physically together in the same
Yeah.
location, and really, like just real authentic feel to it, and yet having a positive message, as you said in the song, kind of like rise above the ashes,
Yeah.
and just still like to hold on.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. Exactly. Yeah. I'm not I can I can write so-called happy songs, but for me the songs have to come from the heart and the soul, and so whenever I sing or I write or whatever, it comes out of something deep. So yeah.
And after you wrote this song, it had like a healing effect on you, would you say? I mean, did it help in just at least help you at least express or get out the feelings that you had?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. When I let Shanoa, my wife, hear it as well, she was really touched by it. The strange thing about the song was I originally wrote it. I wrote it as a dance track. And I actually came back to a few months later and decided to just strip it away and just do vocals and guitar. And I realized it was actually um, quite a powerful song. So I thought, well, I'm going to start actually just playing that as well and letting other people hear it. So yeah, it's definitely been a cathartic piece.
Yeah. You know what I'd like to touch upon, Victor,
Mm,
if you'd like to kind of move in this direction, is your inspiration, would you say primarily is sort of feeling based? Because you were saying, as we just opened the show,
yeah,
that music is really allowing you as a vehicle to express your emotions. So do you, in terms of getting inspired to write a
yeah,
song, is it just something that's going on? Within your awareness, something that's going on in your life, or other influences. And then if you could touch upon developing one's ear
mm,
musically, because you're self-taught,
yeah,
musically, composing, singing,
yeah.
playing your instrument. So I wonder if you can touch upon that and share in that direction.
Sure. Yeah. The only, I mean, I had the only sort of formal lessons I've ever had were piano when I was much younger, and that's because I was already playing piano by ear, and I thought, well, I want to, my parents at the time, they said, well, we should get proper lessons and do that, and that was when I was in high school. For a few years I did that, but with me, the music is always about, I learn something where I understand the technical side of the instrument or whatever, but then I always have a desire to just create with it. So um, it really, like I said before, it really is it's a vehicle of expression. Just the same as pen on paper is for me as well. If I actually write like a story or write poetry or something like that. So and in terms of inspired how I write songs and stuff. Sometimes songs will come to me like in their entirety, and it's a case of just trying to get it out of my head and get it on the tape, and find the best way to do that. So I don't. I'm not someone that pores over writing and things at all. I'm very very fortunate that way, but I can't. It's one of these things I can't take credit for how I write. It's just how I write, and that's it. But sometimes I almost feel embarrassed if I'm in the company of other songwriters and stuff, and they talk about spending months writing a song, and you know I might have come up with something just in 5 minutes, but it's not from, if I can put it that way, it's not from human effort. It's just kind of how my brain works and how I'm wired. So I'm blessed with that. But it really is, it is a means of communication for me, because like I said, at times where I couldn't really communicate the way that I needed to, music was the one way that I could at least express it. So yeah.
Yeah. And so, music in terms of communication, is
Mm.
there a specific message that you like to convey in your music? Is there like a certain area in that respect that you like to move into?
Yeah. Well, back when I was 18, just to give you a quick background, I was raised in Glasgow as a Roman Catholic, working class area, and um, when I was growing up, it was very 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 commonplace that people that I knew and stuff, they would grow up where at least the father would normally be at least a heavy drinker and things like that, and that's very much how it was for me as well. So the family background, it was all I knew, but it could be very abusive and all the rest of it. So for me, music became that place of escape from that. And then when I was about 18, um, I basically, I basically said said to myself, I can't do all this, religious stuff and all that. And I remember actually saying, make it almost like making a deal with God and saying, Jesus, I'm going to give you a chance. If you're real, then you need to prove yourself to me. If you're not, I'm not sticking around. I'm not going to do all these prayers and all the rest of it, because that's just a waste of my time. So I was 18. My life at that point was, things were going great in terms of music. I was playing in different bands. I was getting close to record deals and all that kind of stuff. But I was taking a lot of drugs and a lot of drinking. You've heard the stories before. And somebody that I met just handed me this little booklet called "What's the Point?" and it basically asked all the questions that I was asking of God at the time, and saying, if you're real, why does this happen? Going through a whole list of stuff. And anyway, by the end of this book, I was in my parents' house, and I ended up on my knees, crying out to God and just saying, Jesus, if you're real, show me right now, because I can't go on. And nobody else around. Right there, Christ turned up, was baptized in the Holy Spirit, and that was 1992. And my life has never been the same. And the wonderful thing about it is, and it's still the thing that I hold on to now, is there was no human being and no denomination and no church to be there to take credit for what happened. It was just me and God, and that turned my life around. But with that as well, it also gave me the strength to deal with a lot of stuff that I needed to deal with myself. So for me, I think the biggest thing about my music is that, yes, for me, Jesus is the center of everything I do, but I'm not an evangelist, so that's not where I'm coming from. For me, it's about truth, and the big thing about truth in music is being able to say to people, you don't have to walk in a way and be the same way as everybody else if you don't believe that that's what you're supposed to be doing. You don't have to hide who you are. So I think the biggest thing I have about my music, my songs, is a feeling of, it's okay to feel out of place. It's okay to feel that you don't fit in, because my experience has been that most of the most brilliant people in the world don't fit in. And it's because of that we can make a difference in the world. So um hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, that's what it is. I like the idea of somebody being able to listen to a song and thinking that maybe they're not alone just for that one song. Somebody else has felt like that. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, that's a beautiful story. that you
Mm,
shared, Victor. Thank you so much for
no
sharing
problem.
that. And I see that book came right at the right moment. That was a really
Yeah,
beautiful
yeah,
testament to getting a lot of your questions answered and to being
yeah,
a real milestone and turning point in your life. And then, of course,
yeah,
directing your music as well.
yeah. And I think just to add to that as well, I think that the one thing that taught me basically was, and it keeps me railing against the kind of easy answer um faith journeys, if you know what I mean, like the sort of black and white, yes, this is the answer for this and that's the answer for this, and everything's easy. Coming from where I came from, I realized that, life is hard, but it's also about our choices, and having easy pat answers for everything isn't necessarily what we're going to get in life. Life is much deeper than that, and sometimes the most deepest and best thing we can do for another human being is just to say, let me listen to what you're going through, rather than trying to come up with an answer to sound clever, or because I think that there's an art in listening that I think we have lost a lot, especially in the West. Because we're so much in a hurry that if we listen, we only listen to give an answer. Usually, we don't really listen often to people, especially when they're going through a difficult time. So for me, that's a huge part, and that's something that I'm still on a journey to really learning as well.
Mhm. Yeah. Wow, that was really deep and powerful. You actually gave me tingles. And it's so it has so much beautiful like ripples of love and truth in it because you're saying that you feel that we've lost the art of listening and that we
Yeah.
just when we hear someone going through something we're just kind of quick to give an answer but we're not really just listening and you also brought up the point also that we allow them to kind of like be going through what they're going through and
Mm.
being
Yeah.
present there for them.
Yeah.
And that is really so beautiful and very touching. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing
No, thank you. A pleasure. Absolutely.
that. So there's also a very strong message of truth. And
Mm.
it sounds like, through everything that you went with, like you were saying, like with your father, and then just
Mm.
kind of different feelings that you had towards yourself that I think we've all
Oh
experienced
yeah.
and
Yeah.
whatnot. It seemed like you just embraced all
Mm.
of who you are and kind of like without judging it and just saying like this is who I am and this is okay and I don't have to fit in. I don't have to be like anybody else and you kind
Yeah.
of started to feel more grounded in your faith
Absolutely. Yeah.
and developing your own voice.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think one thing. I mean, I don't believe that the journey never ends in life. I mean, and that's what I'm always suspicious of people, no matter what their background is. I'm always suspicious when somebody says, I've did A, B, C, and D, and now I've got to the end of the journey. Because to me, life is a journey, and we're constantly, and I believe that's the way we're supposed to be, constantly evolving and changing and developing ourselves and getting better at things and realizing some things that we don't need and whatever. And I think for me, the big thing that keeps coming to me, especially in the last few years, is that as human beings, we want to control everything, but control is exhausting and it's not productive. So for me, the biggest thing for me at the moment is I'm learning to control the things that I can control, meaning taking responsibility for my own life, taking responsibility for my life as a father and a husband and all of those things. But beyond that, I'm not responsible for how other people react, and I shouldn't even be wasting my time trying to control situations either, because I've it's like everywhere, especially on social media, there's always somebody telling you, control that, do this and these things will happen. And for me, that's exhausting. I'm happy that I've learned to let go, because when you let go, I think that's when we actually begin to discover who we are. When we let go of that burden of trying to carry the world and control everything, and kind of let go of fear as well. Because fear, I think that's a big thing as well through my music, is that I want to I want people to be able to let go of fear, whatever it might be, and being who you are. I think that's one of the scariest things that people have, is this fear of who am I really, and will I be rejected for who I am, and for me, that's you know for me, the biggest thing I can do about all of that is love, is show people love, and it's nothing to do with me, whatever somebody's going through, but I can listen, you know,
Mhm.
and yeah, so that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. What great insight. You know what? Let's go ahead and let's dive
Sure.
into another song.
Yeah, sure. Um, this is called "I Can't Change It," and I wrote it. I wrote it back in 2008 when I was going through a period of actually homelessness. When my two eldest daughters were very small, and it's like in 5 minutes, your ambitions and stuff change from, oh, I want to play in this place, or put out a great album, to I want to have a roof over my head and food for my children. And this is what this song is about. It's basically about, it's a lament. It's a song that doesn't actually have any answers, but it's a lament that basically says, I thought I had it all figured out, but I don't. But here I am anyway, you know. So that's it. So it's called "I Can't Change It." Through all my prayers and all my cries for help, through all the things I thought I knew so well, through all the times I thought I knew your plans, now I'm the one left here standing in the dark. And all I know for sure is I don't know what's next. And all I know for sure is this: I can't change it, I can't change it, I can't change a thing. I can't change it, no, I can't change it, I can't change a thing. I can't change it, no, I can't change it, I can't change a thing. I can't change it, no, I can't change it, I can't change a thing. Through loss of home, of heart, of hope to feed, all the dreams I've placed into your hands, all the times I thought I knew your plans, now I'm the one left here standing in the dark. And all I know for sure is I don't know what's next. All I know for sure is this: I can't change it, I can't change it, I can't change a thing. I can't change it, no, I can't change it, I can't change a thing. I can't change it, no, I can't change it, I can't change a thing. I can't change it, no, I can't change it, I can't change a thing. Cheers.
That was beautiful. And
Thank you.
especially coming through that experience that you shared. I mean, you went from life as it was until, moving into okay, I need a roof over my head, we need food, to feed,
Yeah,
the children.
yeah, yeah. And no matter what anybody says, and you can you can do all the you can do all the programs and go to all the seminars, but when things like that happen, in that moment, none of that helps. What helps is we need food, we need a roof, and especially when you have children, obviously children, they take priority over everything. So in that moment, whatever your ideas may have been, they that takes a back burner to looking after your kids. So yeah.
Yeah. And it's so beautifully written in terms of the music and
Oh, thank you.
also, yeah, and also in terms of the lyrics as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Um, I'm wondering if we can go back a little bit
Mhm.
to developing one's ear, because this was a natural
Oh
gift
yeah.
that
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have. And
Yeah.
do you have any tips in terms of developing one's ear? Like if someone feels like they maybe want to
Mhm.
develop that, is that possible? Do you have any tips? And someone who may be watching who maybe is a musician, maybe just starting, or even a seasoned musician,
Yeah.
um, can you kind of give any like pointers and any guidelines for that?
Yeah. I think it's having an ear, that phrase, having an ear. My father definitely, my father was a professional musician. He also would build pianos and tune pianos, and he played many different instruments, but his route through that was formal um education and stuff, and he played in big bands and all this kind of thing. And he had an ear. He could sit down at the piano and play anything after just hearing it, like, for a very short period of time, and that's something that I always admired. So for me, the ear thing for me was slightly different. It was more that I would hear, if you like, I would hear the music in my head, um, and then I would begin to translate that onto the piano or whatever instrument I had. So for me, it was there, definitely there, and it was definitely a gift. But how I developed it was by, like anything else, you work out, you stretch your muscles. So it's like a muscle that you have to invest in. You have to stretch, and I would say it's like anything else. You daily you put yourself in a situation where you're listening and trying to pick out your one of the easiest things is probably to listen to a piece of music and then try and pick it out by ear or your approximation of it. And if there is any sort of gift there for that, it will grow and it will bloom. And that's a few years back. I was doing like teaching just like composition and stuff, with just like kind of privately with like a homeschool and set up with some folks that we knew, and they wanted their kids to learn guitar and to learn different things. So rather than go through the normal process of that, I just gave them the instruments and I showed them quickly what to do, and then I said, play something together. It doesn't matter if it's right or you think it's right, just play something. And these two kids that started to doing it, they started playing something that was very, very musical, but they'd never played any instruments before. They'd been scared to. So I think it's one of those things that's about, again, dispelling the fear and jumping into it. And even, like talking about my wife, I mean, she's classically trained. She can play in any genre at all, but she's classically trained, and she will tell me that often classically trained musicians actually don't have an ear in that way. It's because they're so used to reading the music and being told dun 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 dun, this is how it happens, that it can be very hard for them to break out of that into like improvisation and things like that. So I would say if you have it, you usually have some kind of inkling that it's there. I think because you feel drawn, and it could be that you want to sing, because obviously you can have an ear and you want to sing same way as somebody else or whatever. So it's just investing in it like anything else, you
Hmm.
know.
Yeah. Hmm. So it sounds like, in terms of, and that was great advice, by the way.
All right.
Um,
I hope so.
yeah, absolutely. Um, so when you're in your like mode to create, first of all, it sounds like you get the melody first, like you just kind of get that download of the
No,
music. No, oh, it's not that way.
no, I don't. No, no, no. I get that's what I say. For me, there's no one way that I write at all. Sometimes I have entire songs, lyrics, music, everything come to me, and that's
Mhm.
like in an instant almost. Um, but what I would say is there's a huge myth with, I think, particularly with musicians, particularly with songwriters as well, is the idea of inspiration. That, oh, you run and you get inspired, you write something down. What I've discovered is And I love this quote. Pablo Picasso said this. He said, "Inspiration comes when we are hard at work." So every single day, if you believe that you are called, or this is your passion to write, or whatever it is, every single day, work hard at it, and you can open the door to inspiration anytime you want. And that's my experience.
Mm.
I don't have to. I literally don't have to sit and be up in the middle of the night anymore writing things down. I work at it, and I make myself available, and through hard work, things come, and I can be inspired at any time. But that's what I've found is that I think from a mental health point of view, because I've been on the other side, it is if you don't have a discipline with it. I've seen myself up not being able to sleep because I've got an arrangement in my head that won't leave, and it goes round and round and round, and it drives you crazy. So I've learned for my own sanity that I have to have a discipline in it. I get up as early as I can every day, and I work as hard as I can, and then at some point during the day, I usually say, "That's it. It's time for family, or it's time to relax. Instruments go away. Whatever I'm working on goes away." And I put them out of my sight, and that's the way I work at it, and it
Mhm.
it works. You know.
Right, right. Yeah. That's interesting. You have it kind of like it's like a loose structure, but yet it is a structure within
Yeah,
itself.
definitely. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. It's like you make yourself available, and you have a mindset that says this is when I start and this is when I'm going to finish. But obviously, there's always the idea if you're in a situation where you can run over time to finish things, not then that's great. But it's the discipline thing that at least for me has made a huge difference. And I've seen, I've lived long enough to see so many musicians end up getting burnt out because they don't have the discipline. And obviously, if you're doing gigs at night and stuff like that, it does turn your body clock around. So without discipline, that can become, you can end up with depression and all sorts of stuff. So that for me is very, very important for that discipline to be there.
The discipline factor is like
Yeah,
very,
yeah,
very prominent and very important.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I love the innovation. When you were mentioning that you were teaching,
yeah,
you were just like kind of breaking through kind of traditional methodology of how to present something, and you just showed
yeah,
them a couple things on the guitar, and you're just like, okay, here it is, and let's just kind
yeah,
of see what happens, and kind of removing fear, so to speak, and
yeah.
being like super, strict with it must be this way, it must be that way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was something I watched. I watched the interview that you did with Stevie Coyle,
Hmm.
and I found that really inspiring as well because everything he said, I was just like, absolutely. Especially when he said about how it can be so intimidating when people are learning an instrument when the first thing they get hit with is the technical side of it. um, and that's kind of been my approach. When I started to learn piano formally and stuff, obviously I would read the music and I was taught the rudiments of music and theory and all that kind of stuff, but that actually got to a stage where it held me back creatively because my teachers wanted to pin me down to what they were doing. So when I would be creative, they didn't appreciate it at all. And for me, that's the whole point. Surely we should be free to be creative. If someone has talent, then that's what should be encouraged, not, hey, come back here to 10 Little Indians, as I was I remember playing vividly. I would play that at school, but at home I'd be playing blues and jazz riffs by ear on the piano. So yeah, I think teachers particularly have such a power to influence positively, you know, um, children, in their formative years. And I think if you have a mind to think outside the box, it's so powerful for a
Mhm.
child. So that's how I approach it. But if I hadn't been on my own journey with accepting myself, I would have been terrified to do that because in my head there would be a voice saying, "You're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong." But now I know that life isn't always as black and white as that. So yeah,
Yeah, that's beautiful. You can kind of see in between those gradations
yeah,
of the black and the white. I'd
absolutely,
like to touch upon something that you mentioned that Shanona had mentioned to you that some classical musicians, albeit very talented, but
yeah,
you were saying that they may get, a little bit kind of like that tunnel vision with the musicality being like, in a box, so to speak. So if
yeah,
anybody's watching and maybe they feel like they've kind of been in that type of environment through learning and through experience, and maybe they want to break out of it a little bit more. Maybe that, certainly has had a
Yeah.
benefit on them, but they
Yeah.
kind of want to get out of that and kind of break free and experience a little bit more freedom and creativity in their musical expression. How would you advise them, Victor?
I would say take off the tuxedo, fling away the music, and go and find some other musicians in a completely different genre to jam with,
Mhm.
and forget about reading music in that instance. And instead of reading, let these two things take control and let them guide you, as opposed to the sheet music and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
And so that's like a lot of trust and a lot of surrender. Uh,
Mm,
but I think it would wipe out the fear as well, because now
yeah,
it's like you're just kind of like, it's almost like you're in a new environment musically, so to speak. And so
yeah,
that
absolutely.
newness is going to like breed some freshness and creativity.
Yeah, yeah, and I think when you have been so so well sort of disciplined and honed in that particular way with that, it is terrifying to think there's no music in front, and I can make mistakes. And I think that's a bit the big fear of a lot of people, especially creative people, that no matter what it is they're doing, is the fear of making mistakes. And actually, making mistakes is what makes us grow. If we don't make mistakes, if we aren't bold enough to jump out and be willing to make a mistake, we will never grow. And that's the thing, and I'm quite happy to say I've made a lifetime of mistakes, but it's because of that. Every talent and gift I have has been stretched beyond what I ever thought I could do. Or, I mean, I've played in places and met people that I never in a million years would have dreamt I'd even be anywhere near. So, and that's so much has come from that state of mind of just saying I have to break out of this little pigeonhole that I'm in and get out there and see what happens. And if I fall, I fall. I can get back up again. So what? Just keep
Mhm.
going.
Yeah, yeah, that's such great advice. Thank you, Victor.
That's all right.
Let's move into your soon to be released EP. We have an image
Yeah,
of it, so let's go ahead and pull that up, and I'd
sure.
love for you to share
Yeah.
um, about. There we go. What is all
Yeah.
this about? With a bang.
Yeah. So the first track I played is actually going to be on the EP as well. So this is called With a Bang. The song With a Bang is basically a song about um I mean, at its heart, it's actually a song about breaking free from domestic violence and domestic abuse. At the end of the day, it's quite a deep song, but it's delivered in a package that's very um, funky and sort of rocky and sort of contemporary. And on the EP itself, there's three different mixes of that song as well. This photo it's actually a photo that my youngest daughter, who is in the photo, Mia, took of herself, and I asked her if I could use it because I just thought it was such a brilliant photo, because she's got this massive bubble, and for me, the whole song With a Bang and the whole idea of it is about bursting the bubble that other people have on us, that bubble of control, that bubble of projection about who they think we should be. And I just thought it was just a brilliant image, and she said she was okay with me using it. So yeah, I just thought it was a cool image.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you have such a beautiful message of freedom and authenticity and being true to your voice.
Yeah. Um yeah, I mean, because when I was younger, I've been through the whole thing of, if you have any sort of talent, sooner or later you get people coming around you who are managers, or in music, people from record labels and stuff like that, and everybody wants to hone you as an artist. Everybody wants to imprint their idea on you, and I learned at an early age that whenever I gave into that, I lost something of myself. I might have been offered a degree of success, but at the end of the day, it was a success that was honed to somebody else's pattern of who they wanted me to be. So I've learned, through the hard way, I would rather be an independent artist than be signed to a record label and stuff. And at the age of 20, I was actually having a record deal by a subsidiary of Sony, and I turned it down. And the folks that I was working with at the time, they weren't happy, as you can imagine. But I said to them, I can't. This is a 5-year deal. I can't. I don't know where I want to be in 5 years. And if I sign this is where I'm going to be in 5 years. So yeah, I would rather be independent and have people be touched by what I do rather than be massively successful, have lots of money, but feel empty, you know, which sounds very high and mighty, but that's the way I think. I'd rather be real, you
Mhm.
know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We have a few more minutes. Would you like
Sure,
to play one more song for us and then
sure.
we'll wrap up? Okay, very
Yeah,
good.
thank you. So this is With a Bang. This is the title track from the EP. On the EP, it has full band arrangement, and it's a pretty powerful and in your face track, but it also has a very uplifting feel to it as well, and a good message again about breaking free and being yourself. So this is called With a Bang. I'm so tired waiting for your approval. I'm so tired waiting for your reconciliation. I don't wanna be your puppet. I don't wanna be under your control. Wanna go out with a bang, with a bang, with a bang, 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 with a bang. I'm so tired waiting for your information. I'm so tired waiting for your affirmations. I don't wanna be your puppet. I don't wanna be under your control. Wanna go out with a bang, with a bang, with a bang, 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 with a bang. All I want is for you to see me. All I want is for you to set me free. With a bang, 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 with a bang. I don't wanna be your puppet. Don't wanna be under your control. Go out with a bang. Thank you.
Wow, that was powerful. Thank you,
Cheers.
Victor. With a
No
bang.
problem. Thank you.
Yeah, wow. Still kind of tingling from that. We do need to wrap the show up.
Sure,
So we always let our guests provide the closing comments, however you'd like to close out the show, and let
sure,
us know how we can stay connected with you when the EP is going to be out and all that good stuff.
sure. Um, in terms of being connected with me, you can find me on Instagram under the name of Colors of Society. Um, you can find me on Twitter. I don't do Twitter as much, but I'm on Twitter as SBTT Records. On Facebook, I have a fan page, Victor at SBTT Records. And, excuse me, the website is victorwoolensilk.com. And that's the website. I tried to keep the website as up to date as possible. So all the releases and stuff will be on there. And also my fan page, probably my fan page on Facebook is probably, I would say, is the best for like up to date, really up to date information. So the release will be detailed there exactly when it's going to be released. But I'm hoping and I'm planning that it will be within the next week.
Hmm.
So I'm still in the process of mastering. So yeah, so that's it. Yeah, and if there's a message I can leave for everybody that's watching, very quickly, is just be who you are and not who everybody else tells you should be. And that's it.
Wow. Thank you so much for that
No
powerful
problem.
message and for sharing your music and your musical journey and covering so many different aspects of life and sharing your experiences and putting it to beautiful music and lyrics and helping us get to know you. And we'll be on the lookout soon for With a Bang.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank
Cheers.
you, Victor. Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching Art and Talk. We appreciate the time you take to watch our art videos and draw inspiration from them. Be on the lookout also for part 2, where we will be exploring Shanoa, Victor's wife, and be finding out all about her music and kind of diving into the classical music field. Thank you again for being with us. Thank you again, Victor, for being our guest today. And we'll talk soon on the next Art and Talk. Until then, be well.